look like you got a head full of barbecue Brillo pads, mother. What? Yeah, you, partner. You can't insult me in my living room. You too, homeboy. I still love your bitch ass. By default, fool.
As that first clip might have told you, we are going to be talking about Black Jesus. This is a TV show on Adult Swim, and it's framed as a funny TV show depicting Jesus in a new and comedic light, but in reality, it is rooted in Black culture and rebellion against white stereotypes. As the first clip kind of showed, Black Jesus speaks his mind. He does not care what anyone else thinks, but he constantly preaches forgiveness and acceptance. We will be talking about the similarities to the historical Jesus we know and how they've been modernized to have a similar meaning but different depiction, as well as the big picture messages and the major messages behind the TV show. The first thing that we're going to talk about are the similarities that are really easy to spot. The first one being that Black Jesus wears traditional clothing. It's to drive home the point that this is Jesus just reimagined, as well as being subversive against white Jesus, which was popularized as a way for white supremacy groups to justify their opinions. This popularization is rooted in racial issues, so Black Jesus is a way of retaliating against it and showing a different, almost opposite perspective to white Jesus. Along the same lines, Black Jesus has a devout following of 4 people. It's 3 guys and 1 girl, though he has other people that respect him and kind of flock with him too. This is his inner circle. And much like historical Jesus, Black Jesus does not have a root, place, or home. He lives in a van, much like how Jesus would have camped a lot and would have been moving constantly to spread his message. Black Jesus has a van, though his van does not run very well and would probably not make it to a lot of different places. It still depicts this nomadic lifestyle where they have very little in the way of possessions or materialistic things. One of the things I noticed immediately is the fact that they chose to have people support Jesus and pay for everything, as well as having females in their following. They add a comedic element to this by showcasing a divine promise in exchange for helping Jesus, like this next clip.
He has any money for this, or it's just...
You know what? I wanted to talk to you about that, man. I'm glad you brought that up. Because, Trey, you know I love you, right?
Right.
You know I'll never forsake you, right?
Right.
Man, I got your best interests at heart. So I'm going to need you to trust me on this, man. You got to complete this mission, man. Pay attention. You got to complete this mission.
Okay, I'm just not sure how it works without any money.
All you need is the Holy Spirit. That's it.
Okay.
One of the biggest parts of this TV show culturally is where it takes place. It takes place in Compton, which has a huge significance in Black culture and Black history. Originally, it was a place where Black and white people lived in relative peace, kind of coexisting. Then in the late 60s and 70s, Black middle-class families came together and tried to start a new community with Black business owners as a way to kind of connect all of them together and create this utopia or this community made by Black people for Black people. This community would be very short-lived, though, because gang violence would start encroaching into the city. This would be predominantly because of socioeconomic issues as well as poverty. Compton would be where the Crips and Bloods were created, which are 2 of the most notorious gangs. The area would become impoverished and the crime rate would rise, and with a higher crime rate came more and more cops. This created an immediate divide between the Black community and cops, with things like police brutality and racial tensions. Compton has a deep-rooted history as both a utopia for the Black community and a place that would perpetuate Black stereotypes. And this story should sound somewhat familiar. Compton isn't the same as Nazareth, but it is very similar in the big picture message to Jerusalem. Much like in Compton, there was a time where it was not under the thumb of someone else, or where the people controlled their own lives. It was a utopia of sorts. But then, as we know, the Romans and the Greeks came in and took over. They would constantly keep Jerusalem under their thumb and kind of keep the population on the bottom of the socioeconomic ladder, or constantly in the lowest standing that they could. And the idea of a past utopia would be something that Jesus and his followers would seek to reestablish, that whole flipping the social hierarchy on its head or reestablishing the freedom that they once had, getting back. The TV show makes a deliberate choice to relate cops to the Romans, with Jesus actually getting arrested. He went to buy drugs. A whole bunch of shenanigans happened. He got double-crossed by white drug dealers. He stopped them, got the drugs that he wanted, and they were on the run, and police came.
We got about an elbow of that good white boy weed and all the Bowie Mama money. We won. What the f is the money?
I went on and let the white boys have it.
You did what? Nigga, you magically went in my pockets and gave the white boys the money? That's a goddamn American reverse, man. Show me those hands.
Here you go.
Out of the car, now.
No, it's cool. We don't need your help, officer. We're good here. We straight, man. Come on, man.
Jesus Christ, get out of the car.
No, I like it here. It's cool, bro. I like it in here.
Stop resisting arrest.
I'm not resisting.
I'm not resisting. God damn it.
I surrender. I surrender. Ah!
As you saw on that last clip, Jesus gets arrested, and his followers or his friends kind of run away, leaving him to the cops. And the clip shows how the cops use a lot of force to subdue him. They show their guns. The cops are yelling at them. The cops can be seen as Roman soldiers, as they both arrested Jesus, Black Jesus, and historical Jesus. And much like the historical story, his followers leave him, though in the show he is released through his own acts of miracles and a lot of other convoluted things, and makes it known that Jesus is nonviolent, and he only uses his miracles to kind of get his followers or himself out of trouble, especially when it comes to the Roman cops. All of this kind of shows how the TV show is funny, and it's meant to be a satirical representation of white stereotypes, while also showcasing how stupid those stereotypes are through making Jesus into them. Not only does it bring awareness to the stereotypes, but it gives the Black community a way to connect through rebellion. The entire show is a rebellion against white Jesus and the stereotypes surrounding Black issues and culture. It's a modernization of the historical story of Jesus, just having a new depiction through the lens of Black culture and Black social injustices. It dives into the similar injustices rooted in forced socioeconomic classes, especially poverty, or in the case of Jesus, the Jewish people being of the lowest class and not being able to get up, as well as stereotypes on the basis of race in Black Jesus and faith in historical Jesus. And my big question is, why is Black Jesus seen as controversial while white Jesus typically isn't?